Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Cardiff City World. This one is going to be an interesting one. My name is Pan, aka the Greek Leak, and I'm here with the Ledley side. And we're going to have try and keep it as brief as we can, a discussion about the Wales manager, Robert Page. I'm going to say I went to Qatar and I was absolutely shocked with the performances, especially against Iran. We were absolutely disgraced, really, in that game. Certain experienced players shouldn't have played. So this has been ongoing with a lot of fans of Wales in terms of their view of Robert Page, the side he's picking his favourites, if you like, and not picking who he should be picking. And the Gibraltar game was an absolutely horrendous performance. I was doing a live feed with Rob, and we watched the game, and we really didn't discuss the game in the first half because there was one shot on goal. We had a completely different team to what we would normally have. Admittedly, we've got another game coming up, but to put a whole new team together and expect them to perform was pretty dire. Sheehan was captain of Bolton. You know, he's hardly played for Wales. It was just an absolute joke. And you could probably tell before the game that we were really going to struggle. And the fact that we didn't score one goal against a side who conceded 50 goals in their last 13 games before our game, which is roughly on average 4 per game. And I think they lost to France. You know, it was double figures. So it was an awful, awful performance. And fans booed the team at the end of the match. There was nearly 1,000 Welsh fans who paid a lot of money to go and support the Red Wall. The team and the Red Wall fans were right in booing Robert Page. I feel that he should be sacked now because at the end of the day, we need a coach and a manager in place like a Ryan Giggs, like an Ossian Roberts, who did an amazing job at Como, just taking them up. He's highly rated coach. And Robert Page, as much as he's a good man and, you know, he worked well with the under-21s, he was given the job under difficult circumstances. He isn't doing what we're expecting. Against Poland, we should have beaten them. They were sitting ducks. They're a poor side, Poland. They were awful, and we couldn't put it away. And as much as he said we're a penalty away from qualifying for another Euros, there was a lot of things in that game he did wrong as well. So for the Gibraltar game, Simon, I wasn't a bit surprised, to be honest with you, but I don't know what your view of the manager is and what you thought of that game.
So here's the thing, right? Gibraltar, their whole population would fit into the Cardiff City Stadium. There's more people live in Caerphilly than live in Gibraltar.
It's crazy. I
thought what Robert Page did to the young Welsh players, a lot of which have got a bit of talent about them, we're highly excited about them. Yeah. I thought he threw them under the bus, man. Yeah. I really did. I thought it was absolutely disgraceful. They look uncoached, which is mad. Robert Page should have gone after the World Cup. Yeah. Robert Page should have gone after the playoffs. But instead, the Welsh FA have given him a new 4-year deal. And my concern, especially as I was watching that Gibraltar game, is it reminded me of the Bobby Gould era. It reminded me of the jobs for the boys era, of giving the manager's job and the coach's job to friends of the Welsh FA. And I thought we were past that. Yeah. And look, Robert Page is a decent, lovely bloke. Yeah. But he shouldn't be Wales manager anymore. And I watched that and I was embarrassed, but I was also upset for some of those players because they didn't deserve to be in that position. We should have been playing a strong side, get it done, and then bring the young players on for 30 minutes at the end. It's friendly. Yeah. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Yeah. But this is another example of Page just getting it wrong. Yeah. He got it wrong in the playoff, in the extra time, where he didn't utilise the likes of Ramsey, of Matondo. He didn't even put Ruben Colwell in the squad, which, all right, I'm not saying he necessarily should have been in the squad, but like if it's me, I'm taking as many attacking, creative options for the exact scenario that ended up happening. They were there for the taking, and we didn't do anything with it. And that's down to the manager. But the worrying thing for me is Wales over the since 2016, so nearly sort of 10 years, but you're talking a few years prior to that, the spirit and the togetherness of the fans and the team is what it's all been built on. Yeah. that was the foundation of everything. And my worry now is that it's all being undone bit by bit, and we're going to go back to the dark days. And I hope that doesn't happen, because it's been a major, exciting and incredibly fun part of my life from 2015 to now, following Wales and watching Wales and being a Welshman, because I never thought that was going to happen. But I just don't see how it changes, because the Welsh FA do not have the money to sack him.
No.
And by all accounts, everything I know about him and people who know him, he ain't going to walk away, which means it's going to get worse, which is a scary, scary thought, because last night against Gibraltar, I don't think it could have been any worse.
No.
Like, we had one shot in the whole game against a team that wasn't even a professional team.
The lorry drivers probably.
Mate, it's embarrassing, and I'm trying so hard not to swear, and I'm trying so hard not to really go in on Robert Page, but it's a big problem, because even if you take out the frustration and the embarrassment of the Gibraltar, the game, and the frustration of not being in the Euros now, I'm going to be doing shows on the Euros, and Wales are not in it, but Scotland are. Scotland is shit, but they're there because they were well coached. And my worry is, as I said, we're kind of going back into that dark times, which we shouldn't do, because we've got some good young players, but we haven't got the superstars of old. We haven't got the Giggs or the Bellamy or the Rush, the Hughes, the Bale, even Ramsey is not quite what he was. We haven't got that, but what we've got is a lot of good young players who are together with the Ben Davises of the world, who, if they're coached properly and keep excelling at club level, they can go on to be those superstars, some of them. My worry is that, and I look at that game, and I look at the World Cup, and I look at the playoffs, we're not well coached. And that's a problem. Now, is that just because Ocean Roberts is not involved anymore? Well, surely he can't be the only person who was coaching them well, because I know the under-21s coach is exceptional. So it's a problem. The Welsh FA have got a decision to make, because after the World Cup, there was a big portion of Welsh fans which wanted him gone. Yeah. After the playoffs, that grew because people felt like it was a very big missed opportunity. And now, I think, look, some of it is the 24 hours after the Gibraltar game is the embarrassment of it, and you get all the ribbing and stuff of social media and the headlines. There is that side to it, but it's not fair to those young players, because they're the ones, some of those players might be ruined from that. Yeah. And this is why you don't chuck players in at a club level for just because they look good in a few games, because a bad game or the fans booing you off, even though I think the boos were aimed at Robert Page.
Yeah, of course they were.
The players still were in a team which got booed off. And, as a young footballer, that can affect you, mate. That can affect your confidence and things going forward. So well done me for not swearing. And well done me for being really nice. Robert Page, he is a lovely man. And I wish it's not a personal thing. But at the end of the day, I think it's time to...
We're going backwards. And just on the back of that, I just want to say that there's a few players like Connor Roberts at right back who hasn't had anyone... has actually been playing, guaranteed near enough to play every game at right back, even though there's been many games that he hasn't played well in. And Connor Roberts, was a very good player when he first burst on the scene for Wales. Did really well in the 2020 Euros, scored a goal, I think, in against Turkey. So he came on the scene really well, but he's gone backwards. And we should have been blood into some of these other players, like obviously Finn Stevens, like obviously even Wes Burns, who's adaptable. There are other players, and he needed competition. But the problem is with Robert Page, he continues to play these players even when they're not playing well. And as a manager, if you can't see it, then that's a real worry. And I think his loyalty overstepped the mark in Qatar. There were certain times, I was over there and it was really hot. And I can tell you now that Bale shouldn't have played all the games. Ramsey shouldn't have been playing, certain games. And there's other experienced players. There should have been other players who had more energy, because Iran made us look like Gibraltar, and they had so many chances in that game. And as you said, it started in the World Cup, but Robert Page, unfortunately, isn't the answer moving forward. I can guarantee in the Nations League matches, Cardiff City Stadium will be half full or no more. And admittedly, most of those games against teams like Iceland and Montenegro were in Nations League B, but there's got Turkey in that group as well. And I can tell you, they'll lose a lot of the Red Wall membership fans. They'll lose a lot of young fans who have been filling out that stadium, because the atmosphere down there for the Cardiff City Stadium has been absolutely fantastic for Wales games. I think no one would question that. But Robert Page, I think Mooney knows. Mooney went through a period of not talking to Page a year or so ago, and there was rumours around he was going to go then.
Yeah, he didn't go. Roy Keane was the rumour, wasn't it?
Exactly. He didn't go. And I think you're absolutely right. Having a 4-year contract or whatever.
Outrageous.
It's absolutely outrageous. It should have been, 2 years at tops. But now we're in a position where Welsh FA haven't got any money, because they've invested. They have invested a lot in grassroots and obviously the Cymru Premier League. They put a lot of money in that, especially social media and stuff around that. And they would have made £9 million by qualifying for the Euros, whereas the money that they had from the last Euros went on expenses, because it was all over the Europe. We were unlucky. We were in Azerbaijan and places like that. So most of our money we got went. But this £9 million from Germany would have been mainly profit, because the expenses wise would have been fairly low. So we've lost that opportunity to have that. And that's why the Welsh FA thought, oh, hang on, if we're going to pay off Robert Page, he could cost us millions. Yeah. And then you've got to get another manager in who's probably going to be on more money, like a Ryan Giggs, if you're going to get a top manager, because there's a lot of Welsh managers out there like Steve Cooper, who's not going to want to come to us and want a Premier League job. There's other managers, the manager of Luton, who's a Welsh manager. He's on a good contract. And we've got other player managers or coaches like your Bellamy's and that Burnley, who could be getting the opportunity to manage. So there's a lot of Welsh managers who could manage Wales who have really tied up in other things or at this stage of the career. So we're limited on choices. But I think Giggs coming back with Ocean Roberts will happen, whether that's this year or next year. There's going to be changes. Robert Page, unfortunately, as I said, as good a man as he is, has come to the end of his time with Wales, I think. But we'll see now over these Nation League games how we get on. If we've got 8 games this year, if we don't win like 4 or 5 of those games, then the pressure's going to rank. It's already there. The fans are now booing. There's probably a 50-50 split, in terms of whether he should stay or not.
I don't even think it's that.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a lot less.
I don't see a lot of support for it.
No, you could be right. And I just think the Welsh FA have got to bite the bullet this year. If he doesn't get the results and we don't sort of do well in this Nations League, then really we should be looking at alternatives. I think Mooney is aware of the fans' views. He can't be missing that. He's the chief executive, but there is a financial implication, as there always is with the Welsh FA, because we haven't got a lot of money. But you're saying, get rid of Rob Page now, get someone else in who's going to really develop these young players and manage them. And I hope that happens, but who knows? I don't know if it's going to happen, but yeah.
Roy Keane in.
I'm not sure about that, Si.
No, I don't know. Just quickly, so Wales have got Slovakia, as we record this. Wales have got Slovakia tomorrow, 9th of June, and then they do not have a game until the 6th of September against Turkey. In my opinion, it is vital that the Welsh FA get rid of him. I don't like advocating for people to lose their jobs, but look, he'll be all right. And Wales need to move on, and they need to move on quickly before that breakdown between the fans and the FA or the team happens, because it will happen. Because if we go lose to Slovakia, get stuffed by Turkey, blah blah blah. Yeah. Iceland we got in October. Yeah. They're currently beating England as we speak now. So these teams aren't mugs anymore. There's no whipping boys, and we don't want to become the whipping boys. So Welsh FA have to be brave, and they need to make the right decision. And I think, regardless of who you think could be, the important thing is to make the right decision. Yeah.